we are halfway through the year, and probably you find out that there's a lot of goals that you haven't been able to accomplish. And maybe now that we have through the year, you might feel overwhelmed, you might feel frustrated, or you might feel like a failure just because you were not able to accomplish those goals. Now, if that's you, first of all, welcome to the channel. And secondly, you're not alone, okay? A lot of us have been going through the same situation as you. This video by no means is to make you feel any type of way. We all go through situations in life that sometimes we set goals that at that moment they're important for us and we feel like we can accomplish them. But maybe down the line life happens, or maybe we didn't have the systems in place to help us accomplish those goals. Because the truth is, we still have time to accomplish them, at least the ones that are still aligned with who we are today. Let's pause right now and ask yourself, where am I compared to where I said I would be in January? We're not asking this question to beat ourselves up. We actually ask this question to really figure out what's really going on. Why couldn't we accomplish the goals that we set for ourselves? That way, if we analyze the situation deeper, it's going to help us come up with a better solution for us to be able to finish the year strong. Because the truth is, it all starts with awareness, okay? Because when you're aware of a situation, guess what? You can prepare yourself better to tackle that situation. I don't want us in this situation to neglect this stage. If we actually want to make any changes, it's important for us to analyze the situation itself. We also have to be very honest with ourselves, right? Sometimes we set goals that are so huge, and as I stated earlier, we don't really go deep into it to actually make it achievable for us to be able to complete it. Sometimes we go by our emotions, that excitement of, oh, new year, new me, new resolution and things of that nature, that we go ahead and set goals without thinking about our daily lives or what we already have in place, and somewhere around the way you got distracted, life happened, and due to that we were not able to commit completely on our goals. And that might be, have you wondered if it's even worth it to keep trying? I'm here to tell you absolutely yes. It's always worth it to keep trying, okay? We can always fall down, but the most important thing is to always pick ourselves up, because we can't give up, okay? So with that being said, let's start at why do we fall off? The truth is, most goals, they don't fall off because we are lazy. They actually fall off because we set bigger goals and we don't actually take time to analyze what it means for us, what it means for our lifestyle. And once life hits, guess what? We cannot accomplish them. Probably you said you were gonna eat healthier, but healthier how? You probably started it, but then you went from 0 to 100 real quick without giving yourself time to adjust with this new persona you're trying to become. And by doing that, you put so much pressure on yourself that obviously you can commit to that in the long run. Because like I'm always saying in this channel, we have to get comfortable with baby steps. If you're gonna make a change that you can sustain in the longer run, you're going back to zero. It's better baby steps but steady, instead of huge change that we can keep up with. And sometimes we carry so much shame for not being where we said we were gonna be, that it can actually cause us to drop the ball completely and not try again. And that's where the danger comes in. We are having this talk right now to acknowledge that we can do better, that we still have time to accomplish some of those goals we set at the beginning of the year. So now that we talked about why things tend to fall off, we're gonna move on to the next part, which would be to analyze our goals. And the first thing we're gonna do on this stage would be to go back to our journals. Yes, my friend, you heard that right. Let's go back to that journal, okay? Maybe at the beginning of the year, your goal was to lose 40 pounds. Or maybe you were going to start a YouTube channel, or you were going to be serious about X, Y, and Z. Let's go back to that and analyze it. Now, while we're doing that, we want to go back to make sure that the things that are there are still aligned to who we are today. Because this is it. Whoever you were in January, you're no longer that person today. Okay, so the things that were important for you in January might not be important for you today. So there is no point of you dragging that goal now, because guess what, it's just going to add stress to ourselves. The second thing I also want us to do is just focus on 2 or 3 goals, or one, if that's what you can. Okay, one goal that we can actually fully commit to. Okay, now I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by the goals you're gonna see and notice that you were not able to accomplish, because this is not for you to punish yourself or for you to feel any less. This is just for you to say that, you know what, this was my goal, right? It's no longer my goal. Maybe your goal was to lose 40 pounds in January, but guess what? Now in July, you still have the same 40 pounds extra, or maybe you added some. So there is no point for you to beat yourself on that. So now maybe we're gonna do something very practical. Instead of 40 pounds for the remaining 6 months, we're gonna be like, you know what? I wanna lose 10 pounds. And based on those 10 pounds, we're gonna put systems in place that would help us achieve that, because that's another thing with a goal. A goal without a system is just that, because you can have the biggest goal alive, but if you don't have daily baby steps to support that big goal, it's very hard for you to make it. You're allowed to become someone else. Now, assuming we already figured out our plan to reset, let's go be strategic about it. In this stage, we're going to be talking about strategies that can support our goal instead of draining us, because we've been here before, right? Going back to what I said previously, it's 6 months in, we haven't been able to accomplish what we said we're going to accomplish. So we're not trying to make the same mistake for the next 6 months, if that makes sense. We need systems in place to help us complete our goals, not 6 months from now, but from today, tomorrow, and so on. We have to break the 6-month goal into our daily life. You need to look at your time and make huge changes. You can do something as looking at your weekly schedule and ask yourself, where can I block 30 to 60 minutes to accomplish a goal that matters to me? We sometimes think we don't have time, which is true per se, but nobody gonna give you more than 24 hours a day, okay? That's a set time for all of us. So the best thing we can do is to try to find ways to make it work for us. So you need to set at least 30 to 60 minutes a day to tackle that 6-month plan. For instance, in my case, I want to grow on YouTube, and it's very hard for me to edit, to record, to all those things. So my thing is, I'm using my lunch time, and at home, I dedicate 30 minutes to edit something. It might be something very simple, maybe just the thumbnail, maybe just looking for titles and things of that nature. I was looking at it as if I needed the whole 3-4 hours dedicated to that specific task. But guess what? In reality, it doesn't work like that, because I'm a busy mom, I'm a full-time worker. So obviously things happen that I can't sit and focus on my YouTube channel for 4 hours, if that makes sense. So obviously I needed to break that down daily. Now, I might not be progressing as someone who doesn't have such a busy schedule, but as long as you're moving forward, that's all that matters. You know, that's content creation for me. If for you is, I don't know, working on your health, maybe at lunch, look for healthy snacks, healthy meals you can maybe prep ahead of time, get the ingredients, take the pictures and things of that nature. And when you go buy your grocery, take a list of the things you actually want to cook. Another thing that I do, if I have like a 5-10 minutes, I don't want to come home at night and start thinking what's gonna be for dinner, because I know it's gonna take me longer. By the time I come home, I already know what's gonna be for dinner, right? So that you come, you make that thing, okay, and then you have enough time to get ready and then sit on your office or whatever it is you're using to spend time with yourself and focus on what matters to you. In this case, if it's health, okay, maybe 15 minutes workout, okay? You don't have to wake up at 5 if you're someone who can wake up at 5 for whatever reason, okay? We can wake up at 6:30, then maybe we can do an hour workout, but guess what? We can do 15 minutes, even if it's just stretching. Stretching for 15 minutes for a whole week you're gonna see bigger impact than not doing anything at all, because you didn't have an hour to work out, if that makes sense. And you can add again the same formula to your specific situation, but the point is, instead of waiting for the chance to have a whole time frame to tackle that goal, let's break things down little steps at a time. The next one would be to focus on momentum, not motivation. You probably heard about this, that motivation comes and goes. Actually, motivation is the first thing that jumps out of the window, but your momentum is what stays with you. Okay, what keeps you going is you showing up for yourself even when you don't feel like it. Your goals broken down into specific steps that you can follow daily. Now, some days you're gonna have 30% work done, some days you're gonna have 80%, and some other days maybe just 10%. But guess what? We did something, and that's what matters, instead of not doing anything at all. And going back to the example I said earlier, sometimes after work we are so exhausted, we don't have enough time, or we think we don't have enough time to do anything else but to just, I'm so tired, let me just take my phone and spend 20 minutes on TikTok or whatever, right? Those 20 minutes that you spend on TikTok, which I'm not sure is gonna be more than that, but those 20 minutes that you might be spending on TikTok, those are 20 minutes you could have worked out. Those are 20 minutes that you could have read that book. Those are 20 minutes that you could have had your spiritual session. Those are 20 minutes you could have been looking for or doing something about your business, or looking for ways to start that business. 20 minutes might sound like nothing, but 20 minutes every single day for a week is progress, right? And you're gonna have days when we can do 20 minutes. You're gonna have days when you can do a whole hour. You're gonna have days where you can barely do 5 minutes. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence makes you consistent. Another strategy that we can use is to have our things ready for us. If you want to eat better, for instance, you're not gonna bring junk food at home, right? Because guess what? We're trying to eat better, and we know, like we said, motivation is the first thing that jumps out of the window. So even it doesn't matter how motivated you are, if your eyes can see something that you desire, first of all, you don't want to put that much pressure on your brain to fight over and over. No, we're not going to eat it. Yes, but I want it. That constant battle can be very tiring, right? Just don't bring those things at home. And guess what? I bet you're not going to get up and go all the way to HEB to get that cookie, to get that ice cream, unless it's something that you must have. So make it easy for you, because our willpower is limited, but our environment is something that we can change and make it work for us. The last part here would be to assure you that it's not too late, okay? I know sometimes it's tempting for us to be like, you know what, I'll try next year. But friend of mine, we still have this year. You still have a whole 6 months, okay? And in 6 months, a lot can change. Going back to the example of, let's say, the 40 pounds. If you locked in now and you do the right thing now, you might not lose the 40 pounds, but you might lose 10 pounds. Now, you want to go back to 2026 and set another goal. Guess what? The goal won't be to lose 40 pounds, right? Because we already lose 10 pounds. So now the goal would be to lose what? 30 pounds. You guess it right. Instead of not starting now with the hope that in January 2026, we're going to start over and then lose the 40 pounds. So again, real talk. Don't lie to yourself. You have to be very honest with yourself, and you have to be aware of your weaknesses. So don't be naive. One thing I want us to know is that starting again doesn't mean we're starting over, okay? Because we're starting knowing what works, what doesn't. We are not starting from scratch, okay? By now we are more self-aware, right? We know what works, what doesn't work. So the sooner we start implementing those steps into our daily routines to be able to achieve those goals, the better for us. And if this video gave you a little bit of clarity or a little bit of hope, I'll please encourage you to share it with someone that might need it, to subscribe to the channel, and to like my video so I can know that, you appreciated the content and boost my confidence. Well guys, see you guys on my next one. Bye.